I've read just a little bit over 200 books in the last 12 months. Let's dig into kind of what I've read and watch the evolution of how far I've. First up, The Perfect Marriage by Jennifer Rose. I really liked this book. It really held my attention through the entire story. Everyone seemed to be guilty in this book until the very end, and I was like, what? What just happened? But I was like, do I want to start reading again? I feel like I could be into it. This book definitely gave me that window open into the book world again. So I ran to the bookstore and I grabbed another book. This time I picked The Night Agent, and it was phenomenal. I mean, it had me on the edge of my seat the whole time I was reading it. It was mysterious, but it was political. I love it when they throw some politics into a good mystery book, and I devoured it. It was like a 24-hour read for me, and then I was like, hold on, I really like reading. Let's keep going. So let's go to the bookstore again. Let's add some romance into our genres. I picked this baby up. This was a little bit much for what I was looking for getting back into reading. I wasn't quite ready for this book. I love Captain Hook. I loved the retelling, kind of not retelling. It was really good. Bought the whole series, only read this one. It's on my TBR shelf. I'm going to get back to it. But this really got the ball rolling for me. Because then, you guys, I went all in. I was like, if we're going to read books, we're going to read books. So we started with this little baby right here. It was my first introduction into fantasy. And what an introduction it was. It was a lot because it wasn't just like one book. If you read one book by Sarah J. Maas, you have to read the rest of them. But it's not just these that get you sucked in, because when you read the rest of these books, you have to read the rest of these books. And these share a world with the other books. But I didn't even know about world sharing until I read the first one. But now I don't even know how many books in we are, but it was a lot. And I don't have the third one because I'm still waiting on Barnes & Noble, but when I say it was a lot, it just like, it kept going and going. And since I'm no quitter, once I learned about the wonderful world of fantasy, we just kept going. Something a little bit lighter, but I probably finished this in like 24 hours. It was a little bit more my speed fantasy-wise. I wasn't into all the world building once I'd read something that was a little bit less stressful, because the tandem reads in Throne of Glass, it's a lot. But read Fourth Wing, and then I read Iron Flame. This duo, I've already pre-ordered Onyx Storm. I love these books. And since I'm no quitter, I had to finish out the rest of the Rebecca Yarros books because I wanted to kind of know her as an author as a whole. Because why not? At this point, we're in it. Like, we're reading books. We're reading Christmas books. We're reading these books. There's books everywhere. My Kindle is on fire because I just keep downloading more books. We're reading. We are in it to win it. Decided to visit a little bit more romance. Had my world blown because I started this book by Penelope Douglas, Corrupt. And I was like, oh, whoa, that's so much. There's so much happening. A little bit dark. Kind of wish I would have read it during Halloween, but I was like, I can't finish this series. Can't do it. This is too much. This is too much. I cannot do books like this. So I jumped right out of that series into this book right here, which was another 24-hour read for me. It's a pretty quick book, but this book was, again, like Perfect Marriage. It kind of had me on the edge of my seat. Everybody was guilty through the entire book. I didn't really know what was going to go on until the very end. I loved it. It was a very good breather for me after that last book that kind of like blew my mind. But I would recommend this book if you're looking for like a light mystery read. It got my brain going, and it was really good. So how does it feel to be a reader again? Great. Read the book because of Mercedes. How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. Thought I could handle all the fantasy. Really liked it with Sarah J. Maas. Loved it with Rebecca Yarros. Didn't really know what to do with all of the information in that book. I thought it was good. I haven't read the second one yet because I feel like I would need to annotate something that was that detailed with all of those things going on. But the book brought me to a turning point in my reading where I discovered my favorite author of all time, Kate Stewart. I love music, and it was suggested to me that I read a book called Drive. So I did. And I cried, and my heart was broken over and over again. Every single chapter had a song that went with it. Every single one. Every single one. And I was like, whoa, that's a book right there. I like those types of books. And then I found out that there was a second one. And then I found out that there was a third one. Tiny novella, only novella that I enjoyed reading out of all of the books that I've read in the last 12 months. Don't love novellas. We'll get into that in a different video. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is the best book series I have ever read. Now, having discovered kind of the genre and tropes of books that I enjoy, I jumped right into this book, and it wrecked me almost as much as The Bittersweet Symphony by Kate Stewart. This book was golden, and it's really pretty. Super excited about this trophy. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score was my next series that I started. I don't have a trophy for that book, but those books were really good. They were super light and happy, and they were really good kind of palate cleansers after such heavy, dark-ish romance, real-life books. And I read all of those, giving Lucy Score kind of another chance because I read The Christmas Fix over Christmas. I didn't love it, so I was really nervous to like jump back into one of her books, but that series was super good. I really enjoyed it, and I'll probably be buying those trophies in the future. Last but not least for this video, we're about halfway through my evolution of reading for the last 12 months, is this series. I don't have enough time to tell you how this series wrecked me. I'll have to do a separate review on it. I read this Ravenhood series, again, by Kate Stewart, and I was floored. It, again, has an amazing soundtrack, amazing characters, wonderful world building. You feel like you're there. It rips your heart out. Doesn't really put it back together again. There's 2 more books in this series. I have read all 3 and listened to all 3 in these 12 months. I did pre-order Exodus when I found out about the new covers. Walmart wouldn't send me my copy, so I'm still working on getting that. The finish line will be out, I think, in October, and I'll be adding that to my trophy collection. But this was kind of like the end point of discovering what I was looking for in a book. Stay tuned for part 2.